In this video, we're going to talk about Git. I'm pretty sure that most of you would have heard this name somewhere. Many of you might also have some idea about what is GitHub. So in this video, I'm mostly going to talk about what is Git and why do we need to use Git in the first place? What is the advantage of using Git? What are the disadvantages of using Git and things like that? So let's go ahead and try to assess a scenario where we will try to understand why using something like Git would be very necessary. So to do this, I will open my Google Chrome. And this is a diagram that I have created for a scenario-based question. Okay, so let us assume that there are two people in the scene. One person is a front-end developer and the other person is a customer. The customer wants the front-end developer to create a website for them. So the customer says that, hey, front-end developer, I want a website and here are the details. So the front-end developer looks at the details and then front-end developer decides that, okay, I will make this website. So this is the conversation between a customer and a front-end developer. So now all the details have transferred from customer to the front-end developer. Now the front-end developer is going to utilize these details and is going to create a website. So let's see what the front-end developer is going to do. So front-end developer will look at the details. Then the front-end developer will try to create an architecture that, okay, how many HTML files are going to be there? What sort of events should be there? What should be the CSS of the website and things like that. Suppose if this is a scenario. So now front-end developer has created the website and then front-end developer is giving the website back to the client. So let's say website version 1. Let's say that this is what is happening. So now the customer is looking at the website and he is saying, okay, this website actually looks very good, but we want some modifications to this website. Okay, so the front-end developer is like, okay, please tell me the modification. So the modification number 1 is, let's say header is green, make it red. Second requirement is, let's say add a green button to click on submit. Suppose these are the two extra requirements which are given by the customer to the front-end developer. So the front-end developer has received these two details. So now the details are going from the customer back to the front-end developer. Let's say that the front-end developer has seen all the details, have understood the details, and then is going to create another website. So now the front-end developer has created a second version of the website and now is giving it back to the customer. So now the customer looks at the website version 2 and then the customer says header is now red, that is okay, but you know what, header was actually looking better with green only. Suppose if this is what the customer says to the front-end developer. So by this time, the front-end developer would start becoming annoyed. He would think that I initially made it green, then you only asked me to make it red. And then now that I have made it red, you are saying make it to green only. That doesn't make any sense. But okay, if you're asking, then I will make it to green only. Okay, accepted. So he creates another website version 3, and then he delivers it to the client. So now when the customer is looking at the website, the customer may request the front-end developer to make more changes. And this kind of cycle will go on and on and on. It's like a never-ending cycle. And this is a very valid scenario which also occurs in real-time industries even today. So what exactly happens is that a coder or a developer might receive multiple requests from the client or from the product manager or from the owner of the product to make some changes. Now these changes can be incremental, that is adding new changes or adding extra features or extra pages, or it can be modifications, that is trying to modify something that already exists. So usually what happens, it becomes very difficult for us to maintain the versions. Now look at this front-end developer's perspective. Now imagine if you're trying to maintain a code base, let's say that you created a version A of some website. Then after some time you created a version B. Now that you are in version B, if you want to take reference from version A, then you will have to specifically go to version A and see. Okay, so let's say that version A is basically, let's say 200 MBs in space. Okay, and version B is, let's say 210 MBs in space. Overall, what is the size of these two versions? The overall size is 410 MBs, but out of this version A and version B, a lot of files are going to be similar. So let's assume that both of these folders are sharing, let's say 150 MBs of same data. So instead of this versions taking only 50 MBs extra and this version taking only 60 MBs extra, they are having individual storage limits. So instead of having 150 plus 50 for this one plus 60 for this one, which happens to be 210 plus 250, that is 260 total. So instead of having 260 MBs of space, it is taking 410 MBs of space. And that is why keeping multiple versions on our own system is an issue. Apart from this, there is one more problem. Let's say that you are present in India and then some friends of yours is present in the USA. Okay, so how will you send these versions to your friend? Suppose if you're currently working on version B and your friend also wants to work on version B. So let's say that through some way possible, you send this version B to your your friend. Okay, suppose it took you 1 hour of time. But suppose after some time, your friend who is currently in the USA, he tells you that, hey, I also need version A because I want to look at something. So it becomes another tedious task for you to send version A as well. So in this case, what is best for you? You can create a centralized system where you can share the files with multiple people, right? So you would say that I can just use Google Drive, or I can just use Microsoft OneDrive or any other cloud storage platform in order to send the files. This is the right way to do it. But to do this, we don't use something like Google Drive, we use something called GitHub.